Hello and welcome to a new series. This will be the Should You Read episodes where I'll go over books I read to make the videos on this channel. They will be quick and simple where I'll go over what's inside and what I believe are the best parts. This book has gotten a shout out from one of Benjamin Graham's students and one of the most famous investors of all time, Warren Buffett, where he also was found in the preface of the book as saying, "If you pay special attention to the invaluable advice in chapters 8 and 20, you will not get a poor result from your investments." And those are pretty high standards to put onto investment advice, saying that you will not get a poor result from your investments. So let's actually talk about what's in chapter 8 and 20. So as far as chapter 8 is concerned, that is the investor and market fluctuations. And for chapter 20, that's margin of safety as the central concept of investment. Let's get a little further into chapter 8. The main idea with this chapter is Mr. Market, the concept that the market is there to serve you. It's not there to instruct you. Prices do not always make sense. Human emotions and outrageously inaccurate estimates can swing prices around far off from the true value of the business that you're looking at. Price is just what you pay, whereas value is what you get. Other interesting information in Chapter 8 can include timing the market versus pricing the market, the buy low and sell high, Benjamin Graham's opinion on that saying that's perpetuated through the community, formula plans, how to handle seeing your portfolio swing in value, business valuation versus market valuation, and lastly, bond price fluctuations. For Chapter 20, the main idea is investment policy. The idea that you never pay full price, buy only when it's 50 to 66% of what you feel the business is actually worth. Some of the benefits from buying at a discount: number one, if you're right about the value, then that means your returns will be much higher than before. And number two, if you're wrong about the value, you still will likely make money, although not as much. Or if you are really far off, your losses won't be as bad. Some other information in Chapter 20 is the theory of diversification, investments versus speculations, concept of investment expanded, and 4 business principles to live by. So that was Chapter 8 and 20 in the book. However, there are 18 other chapters to read, so what else is there, you might ask? The chapters dedicated can include topics such as investment versus speculation getting its own chapter, as chapter number 1 in the book is one of the most important lessons being taught in The Intelligent Investor. Inflation, stock market history review, defensive investor policy, enterprising investor policy, investment funds, how to take investment advice, security analysis for the lay investor, per share earnings thoughts, many comparisons to companies applying advice. This was found in multiple chapters throughout the book, dividend policy, stock selection guidelines, and convertible issues and warrants. In my opinion, the best chapters as far as the top 3, the non-Warren Buffett selections, number 1 would be Chapter 11, Security Analysis for the Lay Investor, Chapter 14, Stock Selection for the Defensive Investor, and Chapters 6 and 7, this is kind of a melded together chapter because it's portfolio policy for the enterprising investor. Chapter 6 is the negative side, and Chapter 7 is the positive side. As far as my number 1 choice was Security Analysis for the Lay Investor, Chapter 11, the main idea is common stock and bond analysis. It's ways for people without accounting degrees to look at stocks and bonds, and it includes the Graham formula for estimating the value of a stock. It also includes factors like the size of enterprise, stock to equity ratio, property value, general long-term prospects, management strength, capital structure, and Benjamin Graham's favorite of all time, the dividend record. My second choice is Stock Selection for the Defensive Investor, Chapter 14. The main idea is guidelines of filtering out unsafe stocks. And there's a lot of stocks out there, so these guidelines will help limit the more dangerous companies with poor financial conditions. And you can use stock screeners nowadays to quickly weed out the choices instead of individually trying to find them yourself. My third choice is Portfolio Policy for the Enterprising Investor, which is a mix of Chapters 6 and 7. The main idea is things to look for as an investor. Chapter 6 is the negative side, the things you want to avoid at all costs, whereas Chapter 7 is the positive side, things to actively be looking for. The question then becomes, should you read The Intelligent Investor? If you're a brand new, with no clue kind of investor, I'd say wait a while. You'll likely get frustrated looking up a different word every paragraph. If you're very motivated and are willing to read and look up the terms while you go, then this would not apply, but just know that it will be challenging. So if you got questions such as, what's a 10K? What's EBITDA? Then you'll probably be asking, what's half the words in this book? What if instead you were a somewhat new investor, where you understand business language? I would say yes, the Intelligent Investor will likely provide good starting guidance for you. Being safe will mean less of a chance to lose capital, and the 2 rules of investing according to Warren Buffett, Benjamin Graham's disciple, is number 1, never lose money, and number 2, never forget rule number 1. Well, now what if you have moderate to lots of experience with investing? Well then yes, of course. Compare Benjamin Graham's advice to what you've been doing previously. See what suggestions you do and do not agree with. Take a look at what he considers speculation and then compare that to stocks that you've picked already. Maybe Bitcoin and all these penny stocks aren't actually investments. I think Benjamin Graham is onto something in this book. So are you interested in reading? I do have a link for this book in the description down below. If you enjoyed the episode, I suggest smashing the like button and subscribing and hitting the bell if you're new here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.